Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to How to Lose 20 Pounds in 16 Weeks. We're going to be going deep today in all of the best ways to maximize your effectiveness in your training, your nutrition, your sleep, your steps, your cardio, and the importance of consistency and why I say consistency is so important. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see. If you guys could just give me like a quick one in the chat when you're with me and you can see what's going on in the chat. Okay, ones. Okay, sweet. All right. Very cool. All right. So we're going to get into it. Let me just pull this out of the way here. All right. So we're going to be going over how to lose 20 pounds in 16 weeks so that we can ultimately be lean, fit, and toned by summer. So if you don't necessarily want to lose exactly 20 pounds, that's okay. But what I'm trying to really translate today is that 16 weeks, you can see a tremendous difference in your body and in your physique in 16 weeks. The goal is going to be consistency. But with summer coming up, we're going to be mostly talking about fat loss. The more consistent you can be, that will really compound and consistently build up. All right. So before we get into this, I'd love to start this off with some positive mojo. So if a few people could just quickly unmute, share a win, or raise your hand, and we'll have you guys share some wins. All right. Mandy, go ahead.
Yeah, so this past week I got a lot of compliments of people, and rather than being told like, "Oh, you look skinny," or "You look," yeah, basically skinny, they were saying like, "Oh, you look really healthy," and "You look really fit. Like you look like you're gaining muscle. Like you look strong." And honestly, before this, I always wanted to look skinny and have people tell me like, "Oh, you're skinny." But after being told that, I was like, wow, that's the new compliments. That's what I want.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that
It
was,
feels
yeah,
to we go strong, not skinny.
exactly.
That's awesome, though. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Miriam in the chat says she's been waking up without an alarm, so that's fantastic. I know Miriam's also got young baby at home, so I'm glad to hear that you're feeling good. Do we have any other wins? Feel free to unmute and share.
Hi, Shaun.
Hello, Wajna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I just joined recently. I want to say this week's my second week, but the first week and a half was kind of rough because I know I was going up in scale, but
Hmm.
now, I'm starting to go down from what I started at. So I think that's a big win for me. Uh,
Amazing. I appreciate you trusting the process. That can happen sometimes, so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Does anybody else have any wins they want to share? Okay, we'll take like one or two more and then we'll go. If you guys want to quickly unmute and share, that'd be great. Angela, you with us?
Me, Angela, or other
Yeah,
Angela?
yeah, you.
I'm here. I guess I kind of have a win in that I'm still recovering from a wrist fracture, but I'm still getting my butt in the gym and doing the best that I can with my one-sided workouts.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Angela's been sending me lots of videos of her working out one-handed. We originally were like, oh no, we're gonna have to take some time with the gym, but I was like, hey, if you're open to it, like we can just do everything single-handed and like that way she'll be able to keep up with her gym addiction. So we got you
It's a
in.
slight addiction, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's a healthy addiction.
It is, I
Okay.
agree.
All right, we'll take one, maybe two more. Feel free to unmute yourself. You guys go ahead.
Hey Sean, it's Ivy. Do you hear me?
Yay, hey, how's it going?
Hey, not too bad. For me, I think it's 3 years, I think, since you and I started working together. So like that's the win for me. It's like making this into a lifestyle. This wasn't just like a 3 month program, a 6 month program. This was something that I dedicated for myself like indefinitely moving forward. And obviously it's bled into other parts of my life in such a positive way. And I can go on and on about that indefinitely. But yeah, I would say I think you and I are at our three year anniversary. So
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
the big win
cool.
for me.
And
Yeah.
you can't see Ivy on there, but she's gone through a pretty remarkable transformation. We're heading into, I think, like our third cut after we did like a few cut, bulk, and we're getting ready. You have a trip in April, so uh, we'll be ready by then. This is good timing for you. Okay, last one, and then we'll have. So Moni says, not giving up, sticking to the program, trusting the process despite lots of life hurdles, with the great support of Morgan and you, Sean. Definitely a lifestyle change and changing my mindset for life. So I love that, Moni. It's so important that, you know, in fitness, I think sometimes when we join programs, and this has been true for me, where I'll join like a business mentorship or work with a fitness coach, I've never had an entire duration of my fitness or business mentorships be like without some sort of challenge, whether it be an injury, an illness, having a child, like all kinds of different things will come up that will take your focus away from the things that you want to be focusing on fitness wise. But as long as you are, putting your best foot forward and making an effort, I think that's really what makes the difference. So I'm glad that you stuck with it. Okay, if we don't have any more, I'm going to get right into it. Thank you everyone for sharing. Really appreciate it. Let's get into it. Okay, so the mentality that I want you guys to have over the next 16 weeks is that consistency compounds here. So losing 20 pounds or more in 16 weeks is absolutely possible. Your results will compound dramatically if you're consistent. So the three things that I want you to be focusing on is discipline, consistency, and output. So discipline is like staying locked in. So for example, right now, I'm doing this same thing myself. I was driving to my friend's house last night and I was pretty hungry and I drove by the Big M. And if you guys are ever around locally, Big M is an amazing burger spot. And I was like, I want nothing more than a banquet burger with bacon and cheese and fries and all these things. And I was like, you know what? I can't do that. I have to just stick to my meals. So like that was just an instance where I showed discipline. So when you have those moments, choose discipline because I woke up today being like, oh, I'm so glad that I just had my normal meal at home because now I'm on track with my goals. Consistency is showing up every day. So not just days that you feel like it, not just during the week, on weekends too, showing up consistently. And we're going to go over how important consistency is today. That's like one thing that I really just want to like drill into you guys so much because I think it's super important. And then output. So output is like doing the items. So getting the steps, getting the sleep, getting the training sessions in, just like be doing more. Now, more is not always better, but we want to just be doing more in the sense of like doing all of the action items on a consistent basis that we're aiming for. And we'll go over what those action items are in a moment. So I wrote a quote here. So that consistency compounds. You won't see the benefit in week one or even week two. So you're going to be putting an effort in for a couple weeks before you really start to see that consistency pay off. But in weeks 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, you're going to be like blown away by what a difference it makes just by putting in a little bit extra time. So 4 months is sort of a long time, but it's also a very quick time. Sometimes you guys are with us for 6 months. You're like, I cannot believe it's been 6 months. And 4 months is even shorter than that. So 4 months would put us like mid-June, July. You could have a totally different physique by that time if you really are consistent. Okay, so we're gonna dive in. Does this all make sense? Can everybody give me like a one in the chat or like a yes? If you have a question on this, like feel free to let me know. Okay, one's in the chat, one's in the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to have a consistency tracker. So a lot of you guys have something like this in your app, in the HealthNU app. You're going to have your boxes for checking nutrition, your workouts, your steps, cardio, sleep. But if anybody watching this wants to do it, or if you guys want to do this beyond us, like after, or do this on like a piece of paper, this is what I do. Like I will have a Google Doc and I run that Google Doc every day. And on that Google Doc, I will just have checkable boxes. So nutrition, did I hit it 100% or did I miss? Workout, did I do it? Yes or no? Or was it a rest day? Steps, did I hit it or not? Whether your goal is 3,000 steps, 5,000 steps, 8,000 steps, 10,000 steps, 20,000 steps, like did you hit your step goal? Yes or no? Cardio, did you do it? Yes or no? And was there a rest day? And then sleep, did you get the 7 to 9 hours? Yes or no? And you'll see like the calendar here. And why I love the calendar view so much is you'll be able to look at that data. So say for example, a week goes by and you have all your check boxes and like every single thing is checked off. You're like, wow, I did perfect. But let's just say you might have a feeling like, oh, I did pretty bad this week. Like I missed this, I missed that. But if you look at it and the vast majority of the boxes are ticked off, then you have that data to be like, oh, I actually did quite well. And then on the contrary, like say you feel like, oh, I did really well, but then you look at the data and you're like, oh, I missed my nutrition 3 days. I missed a workout. I missed my steps a couple days and I only got sleep twice this week. Then like those are the areas that you're going to have to want to improve on. Okay, so I think this checklist of like yes or no, did I do it, did I not, is a really great way to show how consistent you're actually being. So I wrote here, check every box as many days as humanly possible, because if you do that, you will get an insane transformation. Now, I don't expect you guys to be perfect, but if you are to take on this 16-week challenge, I do want you to think of like you want to put in the most effort that you've ever put in. So let's just say, for example, there's 7 boxes in a week. If you hit this like all 7 boxes in all 5 categories, so 35 boxes out of 35, if you did that for 16 weeks, like you wouldn't even believe the before and after because it's such a dramatic difference because of that consistency. So I did a chart here about how consistency compounds. So if you followed 80%, so say you checked 80% of those boxes across the 16 weeks, you'd still lose a pretty good amount of weight, right? We see this going up and up and up. you would probably lose about 15, 12 to 15 pounds in that time. Pretty good. Okay. If you are 90%, you might lose 20. And then see the difference here in that blue line, all of a sudden it just really compounds and you really pull away. So I wanted to show this in a visual sense as well because not everybody here is trying to lose weight. I put that in the title because I think that's appealing to a lot of people, but the difference here is not just the weight on the scale. It is what I want you to do it is like difference in visual differences and aesthetic differences. You're going to see a dramatic difference in 16 weeks the more consistent you are. So here's an example. So you can see if you follow things 80%, you might lose about 8 to 10 pounds. Pretty decent difference. But I think by putting in a little bit more, you'd be happier with the result. So if you did 90, you're going to be down 15 to 20. Still pretty impressive transformation here. Definitely nothing wrong with that transformation. But if you look here at the 98 to 100%, it is a dramatic difference. And people might look at these pictures and be like, oh, that's unrealistic. I'm telling you, as somebody who has gone through long stretches of transformation myself, where I've truly been 100%, the difference is mind blowing. And that's why I really push you guys to be as consistent as you can, because once you go through this and you experience it, if you could get the difference on the right here versus the difference on the left, just by putting in a little bit more effort and a little bit more consistency, I will make that trade every time because I just want to see faster results. Does that make sense? Can we get some twos in the chat if that makes sense or questions on that? So Angela puts in the chat, your HealthNU app is great for that. I use it every day. It keeps me on track and tracking as I complete nutrition steps, etc. Amazing. Cool. That's why we do it. So I'm glad it works. Thank you. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so nutrition is everything. You guys hear me say this all the time, but I really want to explain why. So nutrition is the most important factor in this process. It sets the tone for everything. Nutrition sets the foundation for everything. If you strategize your food correctly, you can also minimize hunger. So if your nutrition is on point, you're going to have better workouts because you have more energy, better performance. You'll have better cardio because your endurance will be better. You'll have better walks because I find when I'm eating well, my body wants to move. So you'll actually look forward to going on walks. Whereas like if we've ever had like McDonald's, Big Mac fries and a pop, like you don't want to walk. You just like want to sit there and vegetate. So the healthier you eat, the more you're going to want to be active. Better gut health. Your gut is your second brain as well. That's why I put the brain logo. So the better you can be into digesting, the more you will feel better physically and mentally. Your gut health is directly linked to your mental health as well. Better sleep. So if you are strategically putting your food like if you can put your carbs before bed, people say, oh, carbs are before bed are so bad. Carbs before bed actually make you sleep better. So recovery and rest quality will be improved if your nutrition is optimized. And then less hunger. So if you can strategically have 3 to 5 meals spaced out evenly throughout your day with protein in each meal, you're gonna have less hunger, which makes it a lot easier to stick to. Okay, in terms of nutrition, so this is going to be in terms of like what we're actually going for. And on the next slide, I'm going to show an example meal plan of like what that could look like. So what we're going to be aiming for in a calorie deficit is you're going to take your body weight in kilograms and you're going to multiply that by a number between 27 and 30. So 27 is a little bit more aggressive, 30 is a little bit slower. Now, these numbers is still a very moderate cut. Like I would probably maybe myself go a little bit lower than that, but I want you guys to start here and then decrease calories as necessary. Okay. Then we're going to go 1 gram of protein per centimeter of height. So your centimeter, if you live in Canada, your height will be in centimeters on your driver's license. So if you don't know, just type in whatever your weight is. So 5'5", just type in 5'5" in centimeters and it'll be there. We're going to get 25% of your calories from fats and fill the rest with carbs. So the protein will be a set amount, the fats will be a set amount, and then we're going to fill the rest on carbs depending on how much calories you have left. We want to make sure we're eating all whole foods. If you can eat mostly single ingredient whole foods, that will allow you to have more micronutrients and it's a lot easier to stick to because you're going to physically feel so good. We're going to also aim for 10 to 15 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories. So quickly, somebody in the chat, if you were eating 2,000 calories, how many grams of fiber would you need? If we're doing 10 to 15 grams of fiber per every 1,000 calories and we're eating 2,000 calories in our diet, how many grams of fiber would we need? Someone said 20 to 30, 20 to 30, 20 to 30. Cool. We got some mathematicians in the chat, so appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so I made some notes here is you want to look at it as going out to eat should be very rare, if not at all. Like I set a personal goal when I'm really being serious about my cut is eating out once every 2 weeks. And if I really want to push it once every 3 weeks, that will still keep you in that 98% category if everything else is being hit. The reason why this is so important is even though you pick quote unquote good options or healthy options, Restaurants are usually trying to maximize flavor and minimize costs. So what that means is they're going to put a lot of oils, they're going to put a lot of sauce, and their protein and ingredients are going to be lesser quality. So it's not going to be as good and as accurate as what you pick at home. And even if you're trying to do your best to guesstimate at the restaurant, you're not going to be able to weigh it. So again, it's not to say that you can never go out to a restaurant ever again in your life. But if over the next 16 weeks you made that a conscious decision to eat out way less, you will be very happy with the results and you'll save a lot of money as well. Because I noticed like if I go to a restaurant with me and Jen, that's about 150 to $250 depending where we go. That's like a week's worth of groceries. Trading that off for one meal. It doesn't make sense to eat out in this day and age, really. Okay. Next thing is weigh your food. So make sure you're weighing it every time, every meal. Had a conversation with a client this week, and she's relatively new. And she's just like, Shaun, I don't know what's going on. Like, I've been here for 3 weeks and like I haven't lost any weight. I'm like, okay, like, are you tracking your food? She's like, yeah, I am. I'm like, do you weigh it like on the scale? She's like, yeah. I'm like, every single time. She's like, well, not every single time. Like, I have a good idea and like I'm using my eye scale. And I'm like, no, you literally need to weigh it every time because we will make mistakes naturally. So as soon as she started doing that, I think that was like a few days ago, she's like, Shaun, I lost 2 pounds. I'm like, I'm not surprised because that when you weigh your food, then it's accurate, right? So make sure you're weighing your stuff. If you're not following a meal plan, pre-log your food daily in Chronometer. So Chronometer is similar to MyFitnessPal. It's a tracking app. Log your food in there beforehand. So what I mean by that is right now I set my own meal plan and I have training days and non-training days. Training days, I have higher carbs, lower fats. And on non-training days, I have lower carbs, higher fats. Now, if you guys want to eat the same thing every day, that's fine. It can be a little bit confusing, but the notion that you should track in Chronometer every day, I think should hold true. Why I like doing that is as I'm pulling out my meal to eat it, I look at my chronometer and I just verify that I have what I have. Because sometimes you might forget some orange juice, you might forget a certain ingredient, you might forget an apple, you might forget different things, and you want to make sure that your calories are being good. Because even though we're trying to lose weight, we don't want to consistently undereat or miss food because your body, first of all, will have like a lesser look to it. Like you'll be kind of like skinny and depleted and not feeling good. And also, you're going to be more hungry. So if you habitually undereat, you will have more cravings and then you're probably going to cave because you're kind of setting your body up for failure. So make sure you're pre-logging and looking at your chronometer each meal just to double check you're eating what you're supposed to be eating. Does this make sense? Any questions on this before we move on?
Hey, Shaun, I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So I've been trying to follow my meal plan as best as possible. I can hit breakfast, but can you talk a bit more about fats? Because like I'm hitting more fats than I am protein. And I'm not buying lean ground beef. I'm buying like, regular full fat ground beef. And I just cutting out a lot of fat for me. It's been a challenge. So I haven't been doing that, but I'm still seeing results. Thanks.
Yeah, totally. Great question. Just so I clarify, you said something like you're getting more protein than fat. Like
Sorry,
you,
more fats in my diet than I am protein because
can
yeah.
you clarify what you mean by that? More fats? Because that
Oh,
like,
so
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
when I'm tracking it on Chronometer.
Okay, how many grams of fat are you getting and how many grams of protein are you getting?
Oh, I'm not gonna remember, but like when I track it on Chronometer, like it hits the red, like the line goes red, and then a pink thing starts flashing.
Okay, got you. Okay, so I don't, I would need to check and we can always take this offline and look at
Right.
your thing specifically. But what it sounds like you're doing is so in Chronometer, you're going to have targets. You're going to have a fat target, a protein target, a carb target, right? So the number for fats is always going to be the lowest one. So it'll probably be in the range of like 60 to 80, most likely. So it's easier to fill up that bar, but you haven't eaten more fats than protein, most likely unless you're just like going way over on your fats. But honestly, it's like hard to do unless you know what I mean. Like there's probably some sort of tracking mistake there because especially you are in your first few weeks, not Wajna, like what I would love for you to do is like whatever macros are on your meal plan, you want to either A, follow the meal plan exactly as it is, or two, B, you want to make sure that you are tracking the macros that are on the top of your meal plan. So let's just say it says 150 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, 60 grams of fat. You want to hit those numbers plus or minus two. So in your protein, it would be no higher than 152. no lower than 148. And that's why you need to pre-log, because if you are doing that by chance, like tracking each meal as you go, you're never going to get those numbers to line up by accident. You have to be very intentional with it. So this is why we're like, hey, in the beginning, just follow our meal plan because we've done all the thinking for you. And then over time, when you want to have more flexibility and you understand tracking better, then you can start venturing off on your own. Because in the meantime, this is such a new skill for you that to learn how to create your own meal plan is in like week two is like pretty new for you, right? So we would have to work on that over time. But message me and send me a screenshot of your meal plan and your chronometer, please, and I'll help you work that out in a sidebar.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Shaun.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good question. Thank you. Miriam says I definitely undereat. It's hard. Yeah, when you have kids and stuff too, it's hard because like just like the sheer time requirement to eat is a lot. Um, So Moni says, with the body weight for calorie deficit, does that refer to your current weight or your target weight? I would honestly do your current weight. And if you're finding that as a number that is like higher than what you're recently able to eat, you could do maybe like 30 pounds under your current weight, which would be about 15 kilos. But you don't want to put the number too low. And that's such a good time question because what that question indicates to me is you're like that calorie count seems high, and it honestly should be high because most women, especially when they go to lose body fat, they undereat, and that kind of sets them up for failure. So that's a great question. Okay, here's an example of what that could look like. So keep in mind, we had a woman be 160 pounds in this example at 5'5", which is 165 centimeters, which had us eating at 28 calories per kilogram, was 2,030 calories, which worked out to being 165 grams of protein because that was her height in centimeters. It was 25% of her total fats, which is 56 grams of fats, and then the rest we filled with carbs. Okay, and here's a sample meal plan. You could have breakfast with 3 whole eggs, 100 grams of liquid egg whites, 80 grams of oats, 100 grams of blueberries. Lunch was 180 chicken breast, 200 grams of sweet potato, broccoli, and olive oil. Meal three was a snack, Greek yogurt, almonds, and banana, and then dinner would be salmon fillet with basmati rice cooked, asparagus, and lemon. This is very similar to how I would eat. So if you notice here, it's like it's all single ingredient whole foods. There's not really much sauces and things like that. So how you would make this interesting is using spices and salt. So you use spices on salt on all these except obviously the Greek yogurt. Does this sound good? You guys are like, hey, this is my exact meal plan. Not really, but this is very similar to how we make it. Okay, moving on. Okay, so next up is training. So before we go on, I think nutrition is the biggest part. So before we move on, like, does anyone have any further questions on this, or is this like 100% understood? And you guys are like, I'm going to crush nutrition easily, no problem for the rest of the time. Feel free to drop questions. All good. Going once, going twice. Okay, moving on to training. All right, so training serves a few key purposes throughout this program. So first one is building and retaining muscle. So contrary to popular belief, you're probably not going to gain a bunch of muscle in a calorie deficit. So most of us are in a calorie deficit because you're trying to lose body fat. So you're actually not likely to build a lot of new muscle. What you are going to do is retain the muscle that you currently have. So by training to failure, you're giving your body a signal that you want to keep the amount of body fat, or sorry, the amount of muscle that you have. So you are going to keep that muscle through training and eating enough protein, but you're not likely to build a bunch of new tissue. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep the tissue you have and develop the look and tone of your muscle. And I've heard lately that people say, toned is not a real thing. I personally believe that it is. I think somebody who is working out and lifting weights has a distinctly different muscle texture and a muscle look than somebody who is not training. That's just a belief of mine. But anyways, okay. Develop your look. So resistance training changes the shape of your body. So if you want to have like a more hourglass physique in the sense of like you want to lose your midsection, you want to build your glutes, you want to have like toned thighs, you want to have defined arms, that is training. Training is going to do that. Nutrition alone helps in terms of losing body fat and just like looking better, but training is like really what brings it all together and allows you to really see big differences in your physique. Also increases strength. Obviously, as we get older, we want to feel stronger. We want to make sure we're not falling down and breaking our bones. Angela, I'm just kidding. But you're getting jacked, Angela. We're good. Feel stronger, more powerful, and more confident in everything you do. Like I think one of the biggest feedbacks I get from people in this program is like, Shaun, like I feel so confident not just from the way I look, but like I'm strong now. Like a lot of you guys are stronger than your man. Which is pretty funny. You guys are lifting big weights on the leg stuff, especially. So that's obviously going to raise confidence when you feel strong. Your kids are like, "Oh my God, mom, you're so strong. You're picking in your groceries all in one trip." Like strength is a really big confidence mover. So that's a big bit of feedback we get. Finally, it boosts your basal metabolic rate. So having more muscle in your body and training it increases how many calories you burn at rest. So you're basically just like a little fat burning furnace all day long because you train and you do resistance training. Any questions on that? Is that understood? Can I get some ones in the chat? Mm, Okay, sweet. Okay, in terms of how we're going to do the resistance training, so I want you guys training 4 times a week. So plan your 4 days in the week. You want to make sure that you have them on set days that work for you. So we typically do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday in your programs, but you have to find days that work for you. Ideally, you're spacing your days out. You wouldn't want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because it doesn't allow for enough recovery. So make sure you are spacing them out, but make sure you're getting your 4 in. If your schedule can't be 100% consistent all the time, in the sense of you don't work out the same muscles every Monday or every Tuesday, that's okay. Just make sure that you do get 4 workouts in within a 7 day window. And then next is progressive overload. Get stronger each week, add weights or reps. Great way to do this is to log your weights in our app, but also to send training footage with your weights and reps attached so that myself or your coaches can give you detailed feedback on like, hey, this is too heavy, or this is too light, or hey, this weight is good, just beat your reps. We'll help you learn that progressive overload over time if you don't know how to do it, because I think that's a big cause for confusion. People don't really feel confident in like, is this weight too light? Is it too heavy? Is it just right? How should I be increasing from here? How much should I increase from here? So using us for that, I think, is a big benefit in the program. So I think a lot of this is probably, in my opinion, one of the most underused elements of our program. I think the people who do it see tremendous results, and I think if you were to add that into your regular routine, you'd see a lot of benefit from it. I know filming yourself at the gym can be a little bit awkward, but if you're subtle about it and you're consistent, you'll kind of get more comfortable doing it over time. Um, Track your weights. So like I was saying before, like make sure you're logging every session, because if you're just going off like a feeling, like I feel stronger, you're not really having that data to back that up. And when you're tracking your weights, you'll know to push yourself more often. Whereas I find if you're not tracking your weights, you'll kind of just tend to lift the same weights over and over and over again. And then I want you guys to train with a lower volume. So this is kind of like a more like higher advanced topic, but volume is basically like how many sets and reps you're doing in a training session. So specifically sets, high intensity sets, like I don't want you guys doing a ton of high intensity sets. For example, you'll notice like usually we'll work up to like one top set, or we'll have a top set and then a back off set. So like 2, maybe 3 hard sets in a exercise. A lot of people do way more sets than that. They'll do like 4 or 5 sets per exercise across 5 or 6 exercises. Why this is wrong is like you're not going to be able to push your workouts with intensity doing so many sets. After your first, second, first 2 exercises, you're going to burn out dramatically, and you're not going to be able to finish the rest of the workout with that same level of intensity. And then you're going to accumulate what's called junk volume. Junk volume basically just increases your fatigue, increases your burnout without getting you any real like stimulus or result on the back end. Does that make sense on the training front? We got a yes in the chat. Cool. Okay, sleep. I think sleep is one of the more undervalued aspects of fitness in general. Like I think a lot of people are like go hards and they just want to live off caffeine and just pushing themselves through. But I think caffeine can really improve so many aspects of your life. And with us coaching women, like a big topic of discussion is hormones, right? Sleep impacts your hormones probably more than anything. So I actually included all the different hormones that get impacted below each one of these categories. So first thing, sleep optimizes growth hormone and it reduces cortisol for recovery. So growth hormone is what's going to grow your muscles, is what it sounds like. Cortisol is your stress hormone. So a lot of people say, hey, like my cortisol is really high. Get good sleep. If you're getting 8 or 9 hours of sleep each night, you're going to see your stress is way, way, way lower. It also boosts your testosterone as well, which is just great for overall health and building muscle. Muscle retention, so your body repairs and builds muscle during your sleep. So the actual workout itself actually breaks your muscles down a little bit, makes you feel run down a little bit. Like you feel good leaving the session because you're all pumped up, but you've actually, in a way, done a little bit of like damage to your body. If we just worked out and we didn't sleep and we didn't eat, we would just eventually feel really bad. So the sleep is like where you actually get the benefit from the working out. So if you're working out, make sure you're taking the time to recover because that's ultimately how you get the benefit. Sleep also accelerates fat loss. reduces hunger hormones and increases satiety signals. So, ghrelin is your hunger hormone. So, if you're not sleeping, you're more likely to have higher ghrelin, which means higher hunger. So, if you're like, hey, my hormones out of whack, I'm hungry all the time, that is ghrelin, which usually means one, you're habitually under eating and not eating enough, or not sleeping correctly, or a combination of both. Leptin is like what allows you to feel full. So, if you are sleeping better, you're going to be able to have more regulated and stable leptin, and then therefore you're not going to have high ghrelin, and then you're not going to have insane hunger. It's going to be easier to stick to your nutrition. Okay, next up is energy performance. So this fuels your workouts, cardio, and daily movement. So this is really just stimulating your adrenaline and your thyroid as well. If you notice that like it really takes you a long time to get going in your workouts, you might have poor adrenaline, which is adrenal fatigue. So like you have your adrenal glands, they're what stimulate adrenaline. So like if you were to, we've all heard this story, like, you know, a woman gets their kid trapped under a car, and then all of a sudden this woman just like rocks up to the car, small woman able to lift the car. It's because she had a strong shot of adrenaline, which allows you to focus on performance. So, in a less extreme example, when you go to the gym and you warm up, you should get a dose of adrenaline, which allows you to then kick it into overdrive and start pushing harder. If you're not getting that, or it takes you a very long time to get that, you probably have some form of adrenal fatigue, which means you need to really optimize sleep and nutrition and other things. And then also probably pull your training back as well. It also regulates your thyroid hormones, which is your T3, T4. Okay, mood and motivation. So when you have better sleep, it means sharper focus and the drive to stay consistent. We've all felt the difference. Everybody here who has gone from sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night up to 8 or 9 hours a night has obviously seen a huge change in their mood. And everyone who does that with us, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever lived off 5 hours of sleep. Now, whenever I get 5 hours of sleep, I just feel like I've been hit by a bus. And when I get that full sleep, like I feel so much better. So that's going to be releasing your serotonin, your dopamine, and the melatonin is when you go to sleep, it makes you sleepy. And then finally, overall health. So immune function, gut health, cognitive performance all improve when you're getting adequate sleep. Again, we're reducing that cortisol, improving prolactin and cytokines. All right. Any questions on any of that? I know it's kind of like more technical, but I just really want to drive home the importance of sleep and how that improves your hormones more than anything.
There's a question in the chat about cortisol.
Let me see. Hold on. I can't see the chat. One sec. Okay.
I can give my 2 cents worth on it because it's
Yeah,
about
yeah,
how
yeah.
your cortisol. So I've
Nice.
done what's called a Dutch test with my naturopath. It's much more accurate than a blood work panel done for your hormone levels because blood
Hmm.
work is literally that 1 second snapshot when the blood was drawn, whereas the Dutch test works over a 24-hour period and it's done with urine testing. You do 4 to 5 different tests throughout the course of the day. So it really is very accurate as to your ebbs and flows of all your different hormone levels. Highly recommend it. Much more expensive than blood work, but highly recommend it. It's very thorough.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's all great. Yeah. Cortisol, long and the short, you test it. And this is why you guys, if you guys see me on social media, I'm always like, hey, like it's the hormones are not the thing preventing you from losing weight, or at least I don't like that being an excuse because although that might be true, when you blame hormones, it's like it's basically conceding that we have no control over our hormones, which we do. So if I'm saying, hey guys, like you can actually lose weight, doesn't matter if you're over 40, even over 50, and you've had 3 kids and you have all these different, you know, quote unquote hormone issues. If you put yourself to bed regularly, 8 or 9 hours of sleep, and we're getting good restful sleep, and we're optimizing your nutrition and your training and your sleep and your steps and making sure that you're on like the right supplementation, your hormones are 100% going to improve because they are within our control. Your hormones are a direct reflection of your lifestyle and the things that you consume. So, for example, like um, I went through a big Lululemon phase. Okay. I love Lululemon. It's great gym gear. I love it. I feel nice when I wear it. And I've been wearing Lululemon for like years. And I got my testosterone checked and it was like 200 points lower than normal. And I was doing some research and the fabric that Lululemon tests or it makes your testosterone drop. So like there's all kinds of different stuff, especially in like women's beauty products, hair, skin, nails, different plastics. Like if you're drinking out of plastic water bottles, these things can all improve your hormones. And like it's a lot to focus on and it's definitely a lot to like be aware of. But once you're aware of it and you consciously make those decisions, you can actively improve your hormones. So it's crazy. So my testosterone was down 200 points for that 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm gonna retest. I took all my supplements, I got sleep, did all my training, did everything, did not wear Lululemon. I just wore like all my cotton clothes and I was up again 200 points. So it really does have a dramatic difference on you, like all the lifestyle things that you do. So and why I think this is an important message, I know I'm going on a little side tangent. I think this is an important message because when you are blaming an outside factor, it takes away your agency and your control. And I think it is important that we ultimately have control over our life and over our health to a much higher degree than, what Western medicine or doctors or social media will give us credit for. And everything now in fitness is marketing. So it's like I have to tell you why my unique proposition of fitness is different and why it hasn't worked for you in the past. Oh, it's your pesky hormones. Like, no, it's just the things that you do and don't do in your life. And if we can control those things and make it a distinct effort to improve them, you're going to get infinitely better results.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for saying that out loud, because that messaging drives me insane.
It's very manipulative and it
Oh, so
frustrates
much.
me. And that's
Yeah.
why I get so triggered online.
All good. I'm right there with you.
Okay, cool. All right. Anyways, I digress. Okay, how we're going to improve sleep. So I went over a bunch of these, but this is the HealthNU sleep protocol. So good sleep starts in the morning. So getting 10 to 15 morning sunlight. I know it's kind of cold and it's not the best, but get some sunlight in your eyeballs in the morning. What this does is your body has what's called circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is your body's innate understanding of like when the sun is up and when the sun is going down and when you should be sleeping. You should be up when the sun is up. You should be sleeping when the sun is down. So your body is in it's like synced with the sun. So if you can get sunlight in the morning, your body starts improving all the different hormones that allow you to be awake. And then as the time goes on, you'll usually have a little bit of a crash around between like 1 and 4, and then you get your second wind around 5. Look, fun little fact, most Olympic records are broken around 5 o'clock because of circadian rhythm. Pretty interesting, I thought. So, anyways, how we start a good day of sleep is 10 to 15 minutes morning sunlight. Have caffeine AM in them only. So 1 to 2 caffeinated drinks max in a day. Try to limit it all to the AM because caffeine stays active in your body for 12 to 16 hours. And caffeine peaks usually 3 hours after consumption. So a lot of people will say, hey, I had a afternoon coffee at 2 or 3. That is peaking around 5 or 6 for you, and then you're trying to go to bed at like 9 or 10, it's just not going to happen. So a lot of people say, hey, I just lay awake in bed and I'm trying to put myself to bed. I can't sleep. One of the biggest movers and biggest thing I try to change for people is caffeine. And I've even, said I'm going to stop for a little bit, at least maybe not quit for life, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm already noticing my sleep is much better. So I feel like there's something in the chat, but I've lost the chat. If someone could
Sorry, that
help.
was me, Sean. I asked about herbal teas. So, for example, green tea has a lot of caffeine. So
Mhm.
would that be included, like not having that in the evening?
Yeah, so I would definitely not have green tea. I think green tea, I could be mistaken on this, so fact check me, but I'm pretty sure green tea has higher caffeine than coffee. I could be wrong on that, but I think it does. So I would not do green tea, but there's all kinds of different teas that you can do. You can do a chamomile tea, you can do a peppermint tea, you can do a ginger honey lemon tea. That's my personal favorite. You literally take like a ginger root and you chop it up and you boil it in like a big pot of water. Boil it for like 15 minutes on boiling, and it tastes very strong. That's why I add a little bit of lemon, a little bit of honey in it, but it's very good. There's lots of like antimicrobial properties because of the honey. The ginger is really good for your gut. It's really good for you, and it tastes nice as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, sorry, I think I accidentally skipped ahead. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, in terms of sleep, also try to have no screens before bed. If you are going to have screens, do blue light blocking glasses. This is the same reason why we want to have sunlight in the morning. It's the opposite thing. Our bodies think this blue light is sun, so it makes it harder for us to wind down. Our melatonin will not produce as well if you are having blue light. So, like on our phones, if we all are honest, like I think most of us are on our phones pretty much right until we go to bed if we're not being actively conscious about it, just because our life is so focused around like social media and our phones and everything, computers at work. So if you are going to have screens, you can buy what's called blue light blocking glasses. So they literally like block the blue light. So it's pretty cool. We have those at home. You can also get what's called red light. So red light is the opposite of blue light. So I'll just show you a couple examples because we can go through this. So blue light blocking glasses. So they usually look orange like this. You might be seeing people wear them. It blocks the blue light from coming in. And then we also have red light panels. I got one of these a few years ago, and they're awesome. Like I put it on at nighttime, and they're like they make the room super hot. So apparently, super red. The these are also supposed to be good for healing. I don't know how much I believe in that, but I think it's pretty interesting. What I notice about it is it makes me very sleepy. If I'm in that room with the red light, like I'm literally like fighting to stay awake, which is pretty cool. So we just put that on usually for like 10, 20 minutes, me, Jen, and Michael, and then we just go to sleep right after. Okay, supplements that you can do to be helpful as well. 400 to 600 milligrams of magnesium biglycinate just helps relax the body. You can also use a topical one of this. I've heard people say, hey, this kind of upsets my stomach. I've used a spray. You can also have like creams as well. 500 milligrams of L-theanine, especially if you drink caffeine. L-theanine is great because it really pulls down the stimulant effect of caffeine. 500 milligrams of anisotol, very helpful. I've also recently heard this. Someone gave me this tip like 6 months ago, and I've just never looked back. Having 1 to 2 kiwis before bed really spikes your body's natural melatonin. I've been doing this, and like I think if you did all of this stuff, like you're gonna pass out and like be fighting to stay awake. It really is helpful. So in terms of habits, have final 2 meals or final meal 2 hours before bed. Try your best to have the same bedtime and wake time every day. I know most people have a slightly different bedtime, wake time on the weekends. I would like if you're really trying to optimize your health, try to have the same bedtime, wake up time. It just really helps with your own body's rhythm because you might notice like you sleep in a little bit Saturday, you sleep in on Sunday, and then Monday it's like hard for you to get back on track. Whereas like if you just kept the same day, your body would probably feel a little bit better. Things that you could do to unwind, deep breathing, meditation, prayer. This is what we do before bed every time, and I think it's very helpful. And then eye mask for total darkness. This really helps. Even something as small as like if you have a TV in your room and it emits like a little light, that can keep you awake. I know it sounds silly, but it really does make a difference. So like having an eye mask or like blocking out all those lights make a difference. And then I don't know why I thought I included it here, but cool room as well is another big tip. Any questions on the sleep front? Sorry, I think there's a chat, but I can't see the chat. Oh goodness, I've lost it. Sorry.
There's just a message in there saying that you can set your phone to take out the blue light
Oh, yeah, it's called like
automatically.
grayscale, right? Sorry, I don't
And
know
how
what's
about
on
that
there.
you put your phone down sooner because it makes looking at things annoying because there's like
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget where it is. It's somewhere in the settings. I did it. Mine starts at 9:45 automatically.
Oh,
That's
that's
I don't know
cool.
if it's grayscale, but it's some kind of setting and it automatically all goes black and red.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
There's also a setting that you can put is that it turns off all your apps. You can't even access your apps anymore. So it kind of forces you to put your phone down. Um, I usually do that like by 9 p.m. All of my apps are closed for me. I can't even open them unless I like put in my code and like then I'm really thinking about do I really want to do this?
Yeah, we have the
Um,
child locks.
yeah, yeah,
That's funny.
it's silly, but it works because
Yeah.
then I like it reduced my social media stuff to the point where I no longer go on Facebook. Like I'm just like
Wow.
I was going on mindlessly. Um, but that and I found that for myself, doing like a gentle yoga before
Mm,
bed kind of winds me down to the point where I'm so sleepy and then I
nice.
go right to bed.
I
So
love
that
that.
also helps.
Yeah, that's great. We've been watching Game of Thrones with our blue light blocking glasses at night, but we have like this big like padded matted area for Michael, and like that's kind of where we put it on. And me and Jen will just like kind of like flow and stretch on the ground because I think it's just better than being on the couch. It's just like a good way to get all the kinks out now that we're getting older. Okay, um, steps and cardio. So again, I always want to preface like the most important three: nutrition, training, sleep. A lot of people are like, Shaun, out of everything, like what can I like cut? Steps and cardio, like again, I'm not just saying it's not important, it's very important. But if your time is like of the essence, like I don't want you to prioritize cardio and steps over training. That's just the message here. So in hierarchy, it is nutrition and sleep at number one, training number two, and steps and cardio number three. But they are still important. And if you did the entire 16-week challenge without steps and cardio and with, there would be a big difference. So don't get it twisted what I'm saying. But if you have to pick because of time, pick training, nutrition, sleep. So don't be getting up at 5, like getting 6 hours of sleep just to get some cardio in. That doesn't make sense. Okay. So your daily movement is a game changer. Steps and cardio work together to torch body fat and elevate performance. So I want you guys to look at steps and cardio not just as a fat loss tool because they are that, but more importantly, they are good for your heart health and your performance. Okay, if you have good cardio, you'll be able to take your sets further to failure, especially on your leg day stuff, which is like very taxing. Imagine you're doing like reverse lunges, you do 15 grueling reps on one side, and then you have to do 15 grueling reps on the other side. If your cardio is not good, you're going to gas out before your muscles do. So Having good performance is really important. Also, as we get older, this is why a lot of bodybuilders die young, is because all they're focused on is lifting weights and they're not as focused on their heart health and doing cardio. So if you have a strong heart, you're going to live longer. It's like one of like your cardio, your VO2 max is one of the biggest, it is the biggest predictor of living long. So make sure you're pushing yourself in your cardio. Is just important. I know we all want to look good and be muscly and hot and everything, but it's good that we live long too. Okay, so steps burn fat by increasing your daily NEAT. So you're going to burn hundreds of calories extra throughout the day without even thinking about it. So walking is important. It's also low impact fat loss. So walking doesn't really cause any fatigue unless you get up to like 25, 30, 40,000 steps, then it has some, but you can work up to that. Angela knows she used to be a dog walker. So she would get like 45,000 steps in a day, which really helped with her fat loss goals. But running, for example, is what we would call high impact. And what I mean by high impact is like the actual physical impact on your body. If you're running all the time, people get like ankle injuries, knee injuries, hip injuries, back injuries, which makes it harder to lift. So I like low impact stuff. Also good for heart health, like I said, helps your performance, accelerates your fat loss and recovery and general well-being. Just feels good doing cardio. That's why they call it the runner's high. Okay, so in terms of what I want you guys focusing on in cardio for the 16 weeks is hit 8 to 10K steps. Then again, like assess your current level. So if you're getting like 2,000, get 4,000. Don't just try to jump to 10. Just increase by 2,000. But especially in the like warmer months in the summer, I think 10,000 steps a day is easy if you're focusing on it. And then LIST cardio. So LIST stands for low intensity steady state, meaning you're going at a steady pace at a moderate intensity. Low intensity is not like just walking. Cardio is meant to be somewhat difficult and you should be like huffing and puffing. You usually cannot maintain a conversation. I like to do shorter bouts of cardio, especially for women, 15 to 20 minutes. I find when you really drive the cardio up, hormones kind of tank. You don't physically feel very good. You get burnt out, you get sick. So I only like to have high cardio like in the later stages of a cut or if somebody is like super well conditioned. Otherwise, I don't think it's a good idea. Try to aim to burn a minimum of 150 calories in a session. 300 is a good goal in 20 minutes, but if you're really giving it, you can burn like 400 or 500 calories. I personally prefer Stairmaster, elliptical, and spin bike because they are for a few reasons. One, they're low impact. You're not really going to get injured on the stairs or on the elliptical or on the spin bike, whereas like you could get injured running and sprinting. I also like the stairs and elliptical and spin bike is because you can set resistance or speed and have a constant thing to be measuring against. So for example, like if you know, okay, I can do level 4 on the stairs, you can progressive overload that and focus on 6, 7. Whereas like running is very hard unless you're like looking at your watch the whole time. It's very hard to do that. Elliptical, you can set the speed and resistance. If you turn the resistance way up, you're going to burn a lot more calories than if the resistance is on the beginner setting. When you first turn on the default setting, when you turn on the elliptical, there's like zero resistance. You could do that for like an hour and it's like basically all momentum. You're not going to burn much calories. Whereas if you have the resistance on like 10 and there's a bit of push and pull there, you're going to burn a lot more. Okay, so how we're going to measure success. So this is what we have you guys do, but if you're ever doing this on your own or somebody watching this is how I measure success. So weigh yourself daily. Why we like daily is you want to take a weekly average. Okay, so especially as women, you guys will have a lot more fluctuations than a man would. A man's weight's like usually pretty stable or it's just like consistently dropping throughout the week. As a woman, you could be doing everything perfect and your weight is still going to be like wonky. Okay, so this is why we like to take a weekly average because if you just weighed yourself once a week and you did everything right and you just happen to have a fluctuation up that day, you don't want to perceive that you've done something wrong. So take the weekly average. So you would take all of the weights. So let's just say for easy numbers, it's like 150. You'd be like, okay, 150 times 7, whatever that is, divide that by 7. Then you know what your weekly average is. So it's like 150, 151, 152, 150, 149. Like you would take the average and then if you're progressing or not. We want to be aiming for about 1 to 2 pounds per week. I think like a great week is 2 to 3 pounds. One is like an okay week, and below one, I'm like, you probably weren't doing something right, or your plan was off, or it's like your cycle or something, which is always going to inflate your weight. Measurements. I don't like to do measurements every week. I think it's like time consuming and tedious, but I think if you do every 2 to 4 weeks, you'll see really good body composition changes. I like to see a big difference in the waist, in the arms, and in the legs. If we can keep the hip measurement high, meaning like we're keeping our glutes and we're losing body fat, that's like gold standard. That means like we're losing body fat, we're not losing muscle. Uh, Progress photo. So I like to take that every 1 to 2 weeks. The camera doesn't lie. Like sometimes the scale can play tricks on you. Sometimes the measurements, it's easy to make mistakes when you're taking the measurements and then you're getting skewed results. The photos, if you're comparing them, you should be able to see a tangible difference every 2 weeks. Now, that's not going to be a massive difference every 2 weeks, but those little small differences add up, especially over 16 weeks if you're super consistent. And if you are measuring these metrics of success and not seeing results, double check your accuracy and compliance first. So go back to your tracker. This is where we assess, okay, how close did I actually follow all these action items? If it's good and you followed it 100%, we also want to track the accuracy. Like, okay, did I make any mistakes in my tracking? There's trainings that we have for that too. So if you ever want them, just let me know. I always send them out. But track your accuracy and compliance first because you don't just want to blindly change a plan that like maybe you're not even following the plan to begin with. And this is why some people are like, hey, like we haven't changed my calories in a bit. I'm like, I don't want to change a plan that is not being followed. It doesn't make sense. We have to follow it first and then we adjust. Okay. If you are truly 100% and your compliance is there and you're still not dropping, just reduce your calories from 100, coming mostly from carbs and fats. Do the equation again at the beginning of this training, and we're going to reduce that calories by 100. But coming from carbs and fats only, leave the protein, or you can simply increase your steps by 2K. Kind of works out roughly the same. Okay, so consistency is key. You can see a holy shit transformation in 16 weeks. So my goal for you after watching this training is for you to get the fastest results of your life. After you do this, it's important to know that like these type of results, like you're not meant to do this all the time. It's a stretch. It's a big push. It's like you're really trying to push for big results and then you have to know how to stop. So you're going to do what's called a reverse diet into a maintenance. So we're going to return your calories up to about 35 calories per kilogram, which will be like a big boost. And that will, of the current body weight that you end at, and then you're just going to be able to maintain for summer. Okay. That way you're going to be lean, you're going to feel good, you can enjoy a little bit of the barbecues during the summer, you can enjoy the pool, you have a couple drinks, you can kind of let loose knowing that, you've got yourself into tip-top shape. And one thing I will say too is like for anybody who has ever been in tip-top shape, getting into tip-top shape for like once in your life, it sets a new bar and a new standard and it's like much easier to get in shape and stay in shape. This is why we all have that friend who like they're super fit and you're like, hey, he can eat out all the time and he can drink and he can get away with it. Why can't I? It's because your body's a lot more forgiving when you're in very good shape. So this is why it's like not everyone's gonna have the same standards. So try not to compare, just run your own race. All right. That is everything for me. What questions do you guys have? I'll be free. I'll be here to answer some questions for y'all. Kim, Angela, Amber, Gwen, Angela, Wajna, Erica, any questions?
Hey, Shaun, I have a question.
Mhm.
Okay, so I've been going to the gym and I'm hitting out the four training videos, or however many videos are on the HealthNU app. I'm doing them, and what I've noticed is there's no core exercise. Is there? So is that something I should do like at home on my day off? And I know you said don't do more because you mentioned the term. I forgot what it was. Burn something, fatigue. Um, I can't
Mhm.
remember the term you mentioned where you shouldn't go over the sets or else
Yeah, yeah,
not going to
yeah.
be productive.
Yeah, okay, so that's a great question. So in the exercises that you have, there might not be any isolation direct core work right now, but in the compound movements you're doing, so any type of shoulder press, any type of bent over row, any type of squat, any type of hip hinge like a deadlift, any type of lunge, your core is going to be active in any compound movement to a great degree, arguably more of a degree than like doing ab crunches. So there will be core stimulated in that. That's like caveat number one. Two, as you get further on, we will probably add more in. And three, this is like, I think the most important, people who want to see their core are like, hey, I want to do more core exercises. How that's going to be determined and the changes you're going to see through your core is through your nutrition. So you might hear the term abs are made in the kitchen. Okay, so if you could have like the best six pack, most developed muscles ever, but if you have like a thin layer of fat over top of it, you're not going to be able to see it. So we have to reduce that layer of fat through being in a calorie deficit through our nutrition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Any more questions here? Miriam in the chat says, "How do you maintain it if you travel? Do you bring your scale?" So again, this is going to really depend on your personal level of commitment to your goal. And I'm not saying any which way is right or wrong. When I go on vacation, I am not tracking stuff. I'm not worried about that. I know on my vacation I will get a lot of steps, usually 15 to 20,000 steps. I'll always sleep in because I value my sleep. If there's a gym nearby, I'll make an effort to go to the gym. But when it comes to food and being out with my family and stuff, I'll kind of eat what I want. And again, I'm in pretty good shape, so like I can eat what I want for 2, 3 weeks, and like I'm gonna be relatively okay. I'm gonna come home a little bit out of shape, but I know I can get right back to it. But if you're like, hey, I really want to get going in this goal and I want to like stay on track, then there's lots of different strategies you can do. So you can get steps, make sure you get your sleep, make sure you exercise while you travel. When you're eating out, I don't necessarily think you need to bring your scale. I think it's gonna be hard because you don't even know what ingredients those people have put it in the kitchen that you can't weigh. So what I would do is just like eat like 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day. When you're eating, try to eat or pick items as close to you possibly can at home. So like a high protein meal, try to ballpark like 500 calories ish per meal. You'll have a rough idea based on your eye scale, but again, it's going to be impossible to track completely accurately. So just do your best on that. And if you can, like avoid the apps, the drinks, and the desserts, because that's really where you rack up extra calories. But again, that's not like you have to do that if you ever travel, just so I'm clear. Like when I travel, like I eat literally whatever I want because I know that I can just get back on track after, but it's up to you. Good question. So Angela says, Angela Isakov says, when I first started with Shaun, I went on a girls' trip and took my scale. I was so proud after the fact. Yeah, I think a lot of things like leading up to it and the during, it's like it's more harder. And more than anything, it's like a pressure that we feel like we have to behave a certain way. But when we come home, like we're always like proud of that. So for example, with my burger example earlier, like I really wanted that burger yesterday and I could have made that decision. But now that I woke up the next day, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't because it would have just put me a couple days behind my goal, which I don't want. So great comment. Thank you. Moni says, what are your thoughts on fasting, like having an eating window of 16 to 18 or 24 hours once a week? I've heard so many things about this and weight loss. So I think it depends. Like so many things in fitness and nutrition, it depends. Fasting in my opinion, is great for certain health benefits, improving gut health, reducing risk of cancer, doing long-term fasts like 24 all the way up to like 72 or even 5, 7, 10-day fasts. Like I know that sounds very extreme, but people will do that to reduce cancer cells in the body. Now, I don't think fasting is a great way to lose body fat. So if your goal is body composition, I'm not a big proponent of fasting because especially for women, it's better to get 3 to 5 meals a day, 3 to 5 doses of protein, and keep your hunger levels normal. 16 to 18 to me is like that's barely even a fast because you're sleeping the majority of that time anyways, depending, you know what I mean? So it's like it's not like a really long fast anyways. Some people might just do that kind of naturally out of convenience, but I think that if you as a woman specifically, because women and men are different due to their hormones and things like this, I would wake up as a woman, wait 30 to 60 minutes, like maybe like walk, have breakfast, and then have another meal 2, 3 hours, another meal 2, 3 hours, another meal 2, 3 hours, and then you go to bed. I think that's just going to be best for your performance in the gym. You'll have better workouts. You will have less hunger. You will physically feel better. And I just don't find fasting is necessary or gives the outcome that people are looking for when they do it. If your goal is like, hey, I want to reduce my risk of getting cancer and I want to do a 5-day fast, that's great. I think that's an awesome idea. And I think everyone should try that at least once in their life because also not eating for 5 days is very hard. I've done it and it's very challenging. Um, but it's not like it's not for fat loss. It is just for like health purposes only. Moni says, yes, I agree. Fasting for autophagy, but not for fat loss. Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. Thank you. Cool. Any more questions? Feel free to pop it in the chat or just unmute yourselves. Otherwise, we can hop off. Okay. Doesn't seem like there's any more questions coming through. Oh, we got one more. Oh, someone says, hold on. Moni says, thank you, Shaun. Great reminder of good habits, very useful tools. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Also helps bring about renewed motivation. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, Angela says, question on training. I typically do my training evening in 8 or 9 p.m. Is AM better, possibly more energy? So for me, I think that's late. Reason being is when you train, you get that adrenaline we were talking about before. So the only time I ever really exercise at night is sometimes my sport games are at night. Like I'll play my soccer will kick off at 8, 9, or even 10. I hated that because I would have the worst sleep because I wouldn't be able to go to bed till like 1 or 2, and it would kind of screw up my whole next day. So I personally wouldn't love that. Now, if you get home after your gym session at 9:30 and you're able to go to bed at like 10, 11, like, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you're able to get 8 or 9 hours of sleep, eat a meal, and train in the morning, that might be better for you. But it really just happens to like it depends on like how is it impacting your schedule. Yeah, Angela says that explains my sleep or lack thereof. Yeah, I feel you. So I would probably pull your training back to a different time of day. But again, like I feel like so many people struggle to wake up at like 5 and have a good workout by 5:36. And then if you're cutting your sleep down to like 6 hours just to do that, like I think that's kind of counterproductive. Would it be possible for you, Angela, to work out earlier than 8 or 9?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I could. I just with ever since New Year's, everyone's at the gym. So like 5, 6 p.m. is so busy and I can't
Mm,
be bothered to fight for equipment.
yeah, I feel you.
But I could even do like I don't mind waking up early in the morning and going.
Well, I don't mind if waking up early is fine as long as you're getting the adequate hours of sleep. Like if you're getting 8, 9 hours of sleep and that still allows you to wake up early, then do that. But if not, then
Oh,
don't. Because remember the hierarchy, right? Nutrition and sleep are number one. We don't want to jeopardize that to get an earlier workout in. If I were you in your situation, I would probably just brave the storm at the gym because it's already calmed down a lot. Like it's now February 21st. Like most of the people who just started back up at the gym honestly have stopped coming. So, and then also like get creative. Like if you need to adjust your workouts, you can use substitutions with the app. You can ask us too. How I design your training programs is with movement patterns in mind. So like if you can't use a shoulder press machine because it's being used, what else could you do?
true. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like a dumbbell shoulder press, something else like that, right? Same thing with legs. Like if the leg press is taken, what else could we do? We could do a squat, we could do a goblet squat. Like get creative with what's available. I'm picky in particular, and I like to keep my workouts exactly the same, and I'll just wait if I need be. But also like depending on the exercise, like getting comfortable and learning how to ask to work in with somebody is a skill, right? So say somebody's using a piece of equipment that you want to use, they're doing like the tricep push down. It's very easy to work in on that because you're using the same attachment, you just have to change the pin, like they're going to be resting anyways. So you'd be like, hey, excuse me, like how many sets do you have? They might say one, two, three. If they say anything other than one, meaning they're going to go and be done, I'll just be like, oh, cool. Like, do you mind if I work in with you? 99% of the time, people are going to say yes. So sometimes people say no, people can be jerks like that. But like in the gym, people are supposed to let you work in. Now, on certain exercises, not as appropriate. For example, if you see a guy doing like 6 plates on the leg press and you want to go and leg press 2 plates, and they're going to have to like take plates off, like that's super inconvenient for people. But if it's like an easy change, like use your best judgment, like it's easy to work in with people, and people are usually more than happy to let you work in.
Hey, Sean.
Hey,
Just to kind of bridge onto that, if since our plans are kind of strategically built and something that you need is being used, would it be better to just substitute, or could we like move to the next thing and come back, or do it in
that's a great
reverse?
question. I would personally prefer you sub than change the order
Okay.
because the order is usually there for some reason. Like you usually want to, there's a bunch of different reasons why it could be, but most of the time is because whatever's at the front is what you're trying to prioritize.
Right.
Most of your programs, like if there's like squatting involved, I'll usually have you guys do some sort of hamstring curl first. That is because when you have warmed up hamstrings and a warmed up knee joint, your squats are going to feel a lot better than if you just get like, I don't like to go right into my workouts and do squats. Like it feels horrible on my knees. So I'll do like hamstring curls, whether it's laying or seated, at the beginning of that first. So great
Okay.
question. But sometimes like it's not that reason. So it's usually what you're trying to prioritize. So like for most people here, they're like, hey, I want to grow glutes. So I put glutes at the beginning, whether it be like bridges, RDL, something like that, and not like leg extensions at the first exercise. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if you need to, just substitute. And if you're not sure, you can click the 3 dots next to the exercise on your app and just type in whatever muscle you're trying to hit. So we'll usually put the muscle in the title or it'll be obvious. So just write in like, so say it's like goblet squat, or actually that's not something you would ever sub, but like let's say it's lat pull down. If you don't have access to lat pull down, push the 3 dots, it'll be a sub, just type in lat. there'll be like a bunch of exercises that populate. And if you ever get stuck, just like ask me or Morgan and we'll be able to tell you what to do.
Okay, that's helpful because I didn't actually know that you could do that. I usually just have to go to the full list and try and find something to add, but I didn't know that you could target specifically.
Yeah, yeah, you can just search it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome. Great question. Thank you. Okay, cool. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I highly appreciate your attendance. This is being recorded, so I will upload it and you guys can watch the replay. If you guys quickly can, go into the community chat, make them feel a little bit of FOMO and just say how awesome it was. Also, I would really appreciate if you could write out one or two takeaways that you took from today. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. Hope you guys all have a great day. Thank you. Enjoy your Saturday. Thanks for being here with me. I really love doing this. So talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Shaun.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.